This is the waving motion. It's what it is. Listen, this is something that you're going to have to learn as soon as possible if you want to animate things and have them look, well, everything. This is everything. This is flags in the wind. This is rope when it dangles. This is all of it. This is when you're looking at someone, you're saying goodbye, your arm does this. This is a squid in the night when it wiggles its tentacles all over the place. It's everything. You know? It's when you've got a long piece of rope on the ground and you're doing that thing where you flick it in the air and then it goes down the rope and it looks really cool. It's the waving motion. It's leading. It's when there's a joint, well, there's a theoretical joint, and then it leads into the next, and then there's following. So the only way you're ever gonna learn this is it's not by watching me. This is fire. This is fire. I mean, this is particles. This is the push, that's the lead, and then this is the follow, that's the pull. Just pay attention, because this is critical. If you want, there's two parts to this waving motion. I'll do it in a joint right now. There's the lead, this guy, and then there's the follow. And you can have the follower also be a leader. So then there's a leader who follows, like this one follows that one, and then this one is a follower who follows that one. Watch what happens, watch what happens. The leader chooses the direction of the motion. So he might go over here, and then come back over here, and then do that again, and then slow down. The follower follows the motion. It always stays attached, but then, since this one is also a leader of this one, it'll start doing its own left and rights, independent of this one, but it always stays attached. And then it starts to, you know, make the one out here follow. Just watch, just watch. So maybe it'll flick out here, and then it'll start doing some of this action. And then as it comes back, it'll swing back around again. You see what I'm getting at? There's almost always just two joints, but with like flags, that's not a good flag. There. With flags that are waving in the wind, you might have upwards of 7 joints, you know, and you might have to animate that and make it look good. But see what's happening here? Okay, so now this one, it's gonna follow. And there it is. It's happening right now. Like, imagine you were holding a stick, and at the end of that stick there was a joint. And that joint could only rotate on one axis, this way. And you were flopping this around. Well, what's going to happen to this? It's like you're holding a bendy straw. It's going to do the waving motion. It's going to look like it's all over the place. See that? It's the flopping. Flop, 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 flippity. Here is what helped me when I started off. I didn't understand. Okay, so when it's not joints like this, there's still leaders and followers, but it's all kind of one big continuous line. Just watch me animate this one tentacle, whatever. Here is where it's on the wall. It'll always be on the wall right there. So here we go. It starts to push like this. See what's happening right there? From the source, which is right here, it'll start getting little pushes. It'll little, I don't know, muscle contractions. Like, remember that first joint? This guy? The first leader? All it's ever doing is going left to right. Because that's all it can do. The complex stuff comes out here. It's that double pendulum from the beginning. So, the waving motion. Just watch. This is a left to right. Always. And then, you see how it's curvy here? This is the joint. Right here. That's one big joint. Here, I'm just going to animate it, because I'll talk about it as I go along. So, we'll say it's starting to go down. And now it's going even more. And then even more. And now it's going like crazy amounts. But then, now, what's this going to do over here? It's going to hit the wall, and it's going to run out of space. So maybe this first leader is going to start going back. Okay. Watch what happens. It starts to pull that way. But this motion, you know, this thing right here, and here, and here, and here, that's been happening, it's still happening. So once this starts to go back, this bulge here will keep on going, and it'll suck the end point along with it as it goes. Because this whatever it is, whatever piece of cloth or string or rope or human arm it is, it'll never get longer. So it'll whip it out, and then here it'll keep on whipping, maybe not that much, but then this motion is still going on. And usually you can save yourself from hitting stuff as long as you get this happening fast. So now this is getting like, it's like a whip. It's like Indiana Jones with his whip. The tip is always going to be moving the fastest because it's the most amplified follower. Watch. This thing, it doesn't ever move that much. Okay. The next one up will move further, but still not like insane amounts. Like, see, it's only ever moving that much, but the tip of whatever you're holding is moving the furthest. Look at how far it's moving. It's from here to here. It's from here to here. Got that? That's why a whip can break the sound barrier when you flick it, because it's amplified. And if this was a super long thing, then this would be moving like huge amounts per little flick. Anyway, I'm going to keep on animating, and you just pay attention, because this waving motion, you gotta get it. This is how you animate fire. Or at least individual flames. And then maybe, even maybe, you know what's going to happen next. What happened on the first one, once we finished our first little flick from the first leader, it started going the other way. Well, maybe, before this one is even finished, it already starts doing another one right in there. See? That is now, the leader is going this way. Even though just a second ago, the leader was going that way. You know, it can change however fast it wants, depending on how windy it is on a windy day or how angry the squid is in the deep depths of the ocean. So, but this is still going on. And this, right here, it's still going on too. You can have stuff going on instead of stuff going on. So it'll keep going that way. And I just realized I may have needed to move this a little bit over. There. Good, good, good. You know, it's all dependent on how fast your child, who's dressed as Indiana Jones, is waving their arm to wave the whip. And then the arm is also doing the waving motion, so it's got waves on waves. So then this might start going out here while this one finishes up. They might even overlap. Just a little bit. And then you might come in for one big, huge flick. And even before the flick is finished, a new motion has started. There's the tip of it now. I mean, it's trying to follow where it would have been, but this tip can't keep up because it's moving so fast. And then here's a new motion. Here's a new direction that the first leader is going to be taking the whole thing. And if you just do this, this is exactly how I learned. You just set up a new document and you get your brush tool and you really quickly animate like a 40 frame long thing of a tentacle coming off the side of the screen and just flicking and waving and making it look nice. Then it'll start to get into your hand and muscle memory will take over when you need to animate these kinds of things, and it'll be so natural. It's hard to keep talking about it, but it's the waving motion. And once I finish this thing, then I will do an example of it on a human, like on an arm. Because everybody does it. You do it every day of your life. Like in everything you do. And then maybe it'll run out of energy and go limp at the end. There you go. Whatever. Oh, it got a lot thinner over time. Be careful of that. Reference your first frame. Give yourself guides. If you click ruler, right click on the stage, hit rulers, and then click in here and drag out, and then go edit, or you go guides, edit guides. Make this red. Then you'll avoid resizing and re-lengthening. And I should have been looking back at my first frame because almost immediately I started making this thing super thin, like that thin, when in fact it started off so much thicker. You know, be careful about that. If you're using brush tool, if you're using line tool, then it's always going to be the same thickness. And give yourself guides to work with. If you want to get rid of your guides, well, here's how you make them. You click in the ruler in the direction that you want it to be, you drag out, and if you want to get rid of it, you click it, as long as guides are not locked, and then drag it anywhere off of your workspace, and then it'll be gone. Just like that. Drag, and then let go. So here's this thing. There it goes. And I will add some double frames, just where I see fit, like on this flick right here. See how it's a flick where it stops having motion at the base for a second to let the whole thing kind of stretch out? I might not double frame that part, let that go quickly, and then as it gets ready, do some anticipation for the next flick, right there. See how it stretches all the way out. Nothing is ever looping back on itself like that. Everything goes towards the end. That's a flick, or a whip. So you would add anticipation before it by double framing a bunch, and then let it play out, and then as it slows down and drops dead, you'd add a bunch of frames, and then you get your flicking motion, your waving motion. You gotta learn how to do this because it's so common in animation, especially hand animation. Not necessarily so much in character animation, but it's there. Yes, it is. Okay, say you've got a person, and I'm just gonna ignore animating the body for now, but here they are, and then I'll make a whole new layer for their arm. It's just that first thing again, but with two joints. They're waving goodbye, right? So their elbow, do it with your arm right now. Lift your arm up, and then see what happens. When you wave, your elbow leads, and then your hand follows. So it's like your elbow goes, and then once your elbow stops, your hand will keep going, and then your elbow will start pulling your hand to the next thing, and then as your elbow slows down, your hand will catch up, and then your elbow will start going towards a different direction, and over and over. Like that. He's waving, and I just had a problem right there. I still have problems with resizing. You gotta be so careful. But this is the waving motion. Right? And in a real animation, you would make the body move a little bit each time he moves his arm. But yeah, just remember this original thing. The leader leads and the followers follow. Just like that. And you make a lot of shapes like this. Like S's and backwards S's, and almost sometimes even like that, where you've got 1, 2, and 3 joints happening all at once. And you can have as many as you want. And you just use the same principle with each one down. So if you've got a crazy complex thing going on, then you would just keep those original ideas in play while still, you know, trying to make it look good for, oh, but I'm just saying animate the rope at this point. Like, you just stay true to those first principles of following and leading, and this isn't gonna look that good, but you know what? This was a much better example. Because I took time on it. Take your time. Don't rush it. You know, this is a complex thing to get your head around. But once you do, and you get it, you can apply it to everything. You know? This could be a flame. This could be a candle flame. And it just doesn't look like it right now because it's sideways, but if you turn it, maybe this is fire. And there's little particle bitties coming off of it as it goes. It's a fire. Look at that. Look at that. And then it dies down. It's the waving motion. Thanks so much. I cannot stress enough how critical it is that you learn and understand this before you ever try and animate figures or effects, because it is so common. Thanks for watching.